The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files.
Really?
That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data.
I feel like this
needed
evidence
to
has to be
register to
damning,
vote
or nobody's going to believe
and
it.
engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible.
I think this page is getting destroyed currently
began
right
learning
now.
about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, "This is the most secure election in the history of our country." A standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say.
They got a White House app.
Cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason.
Yeah, I'm trying. I was on the WhiteHouse.gov website.
CIA
I didn't see anything yet.
reporting explicitly stated,
I didn't really
and I
super
quote,
check throughout the whole thing.
in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA.
I got to read the documents. I don't understand.
Strategy included efforts to.
I mean, he's said all this stuff before.
Big U.S.
so
companies.
Just giving a little bit more information, just a tad bit more. So I really don't know what to say with that.
The Chinese.
I thought we were going to see like a video or something.
Identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president
to lose
the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built these.
Yeah, they couldn't control him, like they didn't have him in their pocket, which was something they couldn't allow.
These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
almost every day. Everything was kept out
It's
that
straight out
was
of a movie.
of importance. One email among
they'll make a
intelligence
good
analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election.
Wow.
Another official inside the FBI
Oh, yeah.
wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who witnessed such efforts perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy information given by President Barack Hussein Obama
Wow.
to be burned. It
I
was
would love to
supposed
see
be
this.
burned.
I would want to see all this
These
evidence. Make a
bags were
museum.
supposed to be at a different level by
Put all in a
different
museum and
people,
let everybody. I mean,
incinerated
you'd make
and
a
checked.
bunch of money.
But it never happened. Maybe we got lucky. We believe this was not done on purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of the people that were supposed to burn the bags. But the findings are stunning. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including
Dude, if this is
electronic voting
real,
machines and ballot counting
if this is
systems.
real, they can't
Dishonest,
I mean, if
almost
it's
all.
completely
They're vulnerable,
verified
they're
and there's
easily
no room
compromised,
for any kind of
people within our government
misinterpretation
Tonight,
of
we're
these
publishing
documents.
a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence.
If the evidence
community
is so
assessments
damning,
and other reports
this is going to break
proving
a
that
lot
our
of people's
government
brains.
has long known these machines are
And there'll be
extremely
some that
exposed to
still
attack.
don't.
As
choose to
one
believe it.
assessment states, we judge that the United States
But I have to see 'em
adversaries,
first.
including
Like, I don't know.
minimum
I don't know
Russia,
if that's
China, Iran, North
gonna happen.
Korea.
I mean,
as
it
well
has
as
to be damning.
non-state
You
groups
know it has to be.
have the
And I hope he knows that.
capability
And he
to
should.
compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it? Made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration
That's not his fault. Dude. That's
databases,
the new
poll
prompter.
books, and
The
other
other guy was caught.
official election websites
He was caught
are most vulnerable
making
to
bets on kill
exploitation
sheep
and adversaries
about his
uses access to these systems
speeches.
to
But he got
disrupt election processes within the United States of America.
administrative leave
Tonight,
with
we're
pay.
releasing
So,
all of those findings and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026.
yeah.
This is a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy.
I mean, again, if
People
it's
have
if it's
questioned
if it's
whether
true,
it
then
could
yes, this,
actually
everything
be
he's saying is
possible to
100%
electronically
correct, and he
manipulate
is
vote totals or
100%
change election
vindicated
results on
to do
these
everything he has
terrible
been doing.
machines. Today, we are releasing documents.
I think that's
that
why he
show
cares
the
about this so much.
CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot to do a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela. And that's exactly what happened, conspiring to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020, and that's what they did.
Wow.
This reporting included precise
I mean, I think
details
everybody
about
knew that.
methods to
But
regime
people, for
develop
some reason, think it can't happen in the
digitally
United
alter
States.
vote totals
Why not?
in
Why
ways
can't it
that
happen?
could not be detected even with
people
an
thought
audit,
fraud
no
didn't
matter
happen in the
how
United
deep
States.
they went.
Look at that. Well, look what
This
happened. Look what Nick
intelligence
Shirley has
underscores why we
uncovered,
must take
and is
urgent
without a
action
shadow
to
of a
ensure
doubt.
that our own system can
Extremely
never,
corrupt.
ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even
Exactly.
when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned. They couldn't believe it, actually.
Okay, what is it?
They contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names, submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case.
Who did the gift cards come from?
Crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found